In an era where progressive initiatives and inclusivity are at the forefront, Merphilus James, president of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, is calling for a more thoughtful approach to public infrastructure in Saint Lucia. He emphasized the needs of people with disabilities have been often overlooked in the designs of structures like the elevated pedestrian walkways across the island. James pointed out that the steps leading to these walkways are not suitable for wheelchair users or those who require assistance to walk, highlighting a significant gap in accessibility. Despite raising these concerns with the relevant authorities for many years now, he noted that they have yet to be adequately addressed.
From inception, our council did point out the issues with the design in that they lacked ramps, which would allow wheelchair users not to be pushed up or down, but to wheel themselves up or down. The gradient must allow people who use motorized chairs or wheelchairs the dignity of wheeling themselves around. So the original design lacked these, as well as any lifts or elevators. The concern then was space. It was pointed out to us by a CDB consultant that there was not adequate space to allow for these to be built. And this was mainly due to the locations that were selected. Now, St. Lucia ratified the UN Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2020. So this international treaty mandates, especially that our governments in any public infrastructure project moving forward, we must ensure that people with disabilities are not limited, not prevented, not denied access to any public space.
Despite this major oversight, Merphilus acknowledges that many accommodations have been made throughout the years, which is why the issue of inaccessible pedestrian walkways should be addressed.
Generally, there has been great improvement now with disability awareness, especially with aging populations. People are growing older, and with that comes greater incidence of disabilities. So we have seen a greater awareness, especially in our city, where more ramps have been built, especially to allow our citizens and visitors, tourists who come to St. Lucia, who use wheelchairs and power chairs to move around easily. So there is that awareness. Sadly, the age of our infrastructure, in all the buildings you would see, the architects then clearly did not have a great awareness of making sure that people with physical impairments could use these.
Merphilus explained how he and many stakeholders would have liked to see the walkway designed, as right now it remains inaccessible to the disabled.
An accessible walkover would entail ramps for sure, which are built at a gradient that would not be too steep, that would allow people who use wheelchairs and power chairs to move themselves up and about through it. Also, there are some that incorporate elevators and lifts just to ensure the greater mobility of people with disabilities. Though some may argue that this is expensive, especially being public goods, it is incumbent upon any government to ensure that every citizen, regardless of impairment, has equal access to public services and facilities.
According to the president of the Ncpd, the continued inaccessibility of these elevated pedestrian walkways for individuals with disabilities poses a serious societal risk. This lack of access may force people to seek alternative and often hazardous ways to cross busy highways. For Choice News Now, this is Obi Offa reporting.